What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today's post is titled Truth and Lies, and this is a dialogue between Matias and his higher self, so I'll be referring to Matias as me and his higher self as I am. Me. Perhaps the greatest conflict of our time is the unbalanced duality of the concepts of truth and lies related to the throat chakra. Today, it is very difficult to know what is truth, which makes us constantly doubt everything we see. Before the globalization of information at the beginning of the last century, everything was classified as truth or lie. There was no doubt about it. Truth or lies were not doubted, and one lived one's whole life based on thought relative to this order. This is how ideas such as my religion is the only real one and the others are lies of the devil are founded. Or, the only science is physics, perceptible by the five senses, and everything that came out of it is a lie and fantasy. Both spiritual and scientific, as well as cultures and politics, they base their permanence and structure on the concepts of what is truth and what is lie. A very useful dual system to easily control the masses, since both words work as a kind of cattle drive. In this way, policies are created based on the Greek concept of isms, that is, movements, currents that cling to a truth, eluding that one has the truth. The other inevitably possesses the lie. The media emerged as a way to solve this problem by adding a broader view, allowing the people to see more than one option, amplifying their information, and asking their viewer questions to lead them to reason outside the isms. However, the same media, to survive in the competition, were involved in the need to show what they considered attractive, even fictional, to generate emotion and attraction and gain audience, becoming part of the great machinery of lies and truths. Then came the internet, social networks, smartphones, Wi-Fi, and suddenly each citizen, each individual is a journalist, a philosopher, a researcher, a scientist, a writer, a religious person, a politician, a critic, an artist. Direct access not only to receiving information, but also to granting it, generated the opposite effect to that expected. Over-information, due to the techniques of video editing, artificial intelligence, science fiction, it has been possible to turn lies into truths, generate movements from non-existent or previously verified things. Today, science no longer has the last word. Today, conspiracy theories that speak of reptiles dressed as presidents, flat Earth, coexist at the same level as advances in quantum physics and climate change. Everything is politicized. Everything is idealized. It is taking to the extreme. And ignorance and ideas of competition are further reinforced, not between large corporations, but between individuals around the world. Our world today stopped being a world of connection for information, for learning, and began to be a world of misinformation in which everything seems true and everything seems a lie. So how can I distinguish what is true and what is a lie? And I am approximately 200,000 years of illiteracy. Me, huh? I am in the middle of the year 1040 of your era. The first printing of texts on rice paper was made in China, method that would later be extended to Japan and other regions of Asia. In Europe, this idea would take about 400 more years until Mr. Gutenberg makes it official by replicating the Bible in 1440. It will take another almost 400 more years until education is made public and a right of free access to every citizen due to the ideals republicans of the French Revolution in 1789. The great technological development would not come until the Industrial Revolution. A few years later, it is at the same time that freedom of the press is enacted in the United States. From 1850, human rights and the abolition of slavery began. Something neutralized by humans for thousands and thousands of years. Between the First and the Second World War, movements for women's rights began to emerge. Since 1920, along with many other developments that began to connect the world, such as the independence of the last colonies and the fall of the last empires. Although the first analytical machines began to be designed in the late 1800s, it was not until 1975 that ordinary citizens could begin to acquire them for personal use. Looking for a method of exchanging scientific papers for their correction online. The idea arose that made what you call internet appear in 1983. That is, interconnected network. Tell me, what year were you born? Me, in 1987. I am, only 4 years after the internet. When did you have internet in your house? Me, when I turned 12, I think around 1999. I am only 559 years since the invention of the printing press in Europe. Visually, the history of humanity would look like the following graph. Here are 200,000 years of history that represent the moment in which the culture of Homo sapiens emerged, and in each point represents a century, 100 years. The first two bars are the time when official history considers the invention of writing, 3600 BC. The next bar is the birth of Christ, year 1 of your era. The first top bar is around 1100 and 1500, where the printing, the Renaissance, as well as the beginning of colonialism towards America took place. The bars are the 1600s and the 1700s, beginning of the idealistic and scientific revolution that led to social revolutions. The asterisk is 1800, where independence and republics begin. The advances of society and human individual rights. The percentage is 1900. Your century, that of the world wars and the internet, the one that invented the greatest technological advances in the shortest time. And finally, the quoted asterisk represents the 20 years of this XXI century. Now take a good look at it Each point represents the illiteracy of humanity in general. Only the last three symbols, asterisk, percentage, and quoted asterisk, show the time of literacy, connection, technology, information, that of the world wars and the internet. Me. I think I understand where you're going. Maybe you want to give the blog a look. That's me talking now. Maybe you want to give the blog a look, because if you're confused by all of this, maybe you'd want to take a look at the actual blog to see what I'm trying to describe. That being said, let's get back to it. Me. I think I understand where you're going. I am. There is a somewhat derogatory phrase, but perhaps it is graphic to understand this. A monkey with a razor. Me. Yes, I understand. That is, as humans, we have been living in the same way for about 200,000 years, and in the last 300 years, everything changed completely. And not to mention the last 40 years, it is almost my age. It is only 2 or 3 generations. I remember once my great-grandmother told me, quote, I remember when as a child, the president was Uruguayan, end quote, name that I associated with the most ancient past of Argentina. And there I was, my very active and unstoppable great-grandmother, reminding her of her childhood. Everything went very fast. I am so fast that you haven't been able to process anything. And one of the things that you have to process is that there is nothing that we call truth and nothing that we call a lie. Me. I eat? So I'm not sure if this is a typo or a mistranslation from the website, or if this is the Spanish way of saying how so. But the website translates it to I eat, so I'm going to keep it as I eat. I eat? I am. Maybe it will take you a few more centuries or millennia to assimilate it. But what you are living, the era of over-information, is a natural reaction, as when they say to you, drinking orange juice is very good. Then you drink all the mornings, every noon and every night, until one day you are overloaded with sugar, getting fat, and you say, in the end the orange juice was not so good. No, orange juice is good. The problem is that you do not know how to drink it. The same for information. Information must be savored, digested, processed, given time. In these times, there is no process time. Everything is so fast that an average human stops using the brain to identify, and all he does is look. Thus, the information passes through the emotion and not through the intellect, and it is once again a useful tool for crowd control. Then, what humanity is experiencing today should not last for long, because its collapse will be inevitable. Me. And the notion of truth? I am. Truth and lie are only two concepts of internal order that generate security in the relationship between oneself and the environment. It is a way of feeling located in a concept, standing on the foundations of life. Identifying a truth makes us have an access and a focus in life. However, something is clear. if the 8 billion humans all had the same and only truth as a concept, nothing would exist, because they would all do the same. The interweaving of existence is produced by the perspectives of many intersecting truths. This is why the laws of physics and those of the heart are not always the same. For this reason, quantum and chemistry are not understood, both being true. Art is not compatible with absolute truth, and yet it moves more lives than reality. The lie is nothing but the distortion of truth, just as darkness is the distortion of light. Lying comes from the Latin concept mentire, which means ability of the mind to create ideas beyond reality. In English, the term lie comes from the Indo-European liog, which means falsehood. We could say then that the human found in lying the ability to be creative. When he called the sun as the father of heaven, the moon as the spirit of the mother, when he called the biosphere Mother Nature, and inside the volcanoes he called hell, the stars he called ancestors, he created the stories that they made. Being who they are, created culture, art, beauty, all through the ability of the mind to devise, to generate false ideas of reality, romanticizing life to give it meaning. Tell me now. Me, you make it difficult for me. From that point of view, I would say no. But what about the lies that have led us to destroy each other? I am the same knife that the monkey has in its hand can kill you or perform an operation capable of saving your life. It all depends on how you use it. A coherent, free, and educated mind learns to lie in the right way through art, romance, poetry, the beauty of making sense of things, of connecting them to each other. Me and the truth? I am truth, from the Latin verum, means exact. Something that in English can be found in the term veracity. That is, it refers to the direct relationship between what one perceives inside and what is outside. A certain form of conformity between what I think and feel with what is observed from reality outside. That said, a truth becomes totally relative from the point of view in which it's looked at. We can say something as simple as that for a colorblind person, the pencil is not red, even though I see it red. What is the truth? Well, many insects and animals do not see it red either. The only thing that makes it red is my ability to see the 700 hertz of the vibrational frequency wave of light. Or we could even make it more complex. Albert Einstein himself refused to believe that quantum physics could be real, because he said God does not play dice. The ability to support a statement, such as quantum that goes against the world of physics, did not enter into his concept of intelligence, and yet it exists. Me, yes. But we could also say that it is absurd to think that the earth is flat when we all already know from many tests that it is not. I am. The great problem with truths is that they seek to be absolute and impose themselves on others. The person who sees the flat earth is the person who sees the flat world, and it is based on what his limited eyes perceive, and that is truth, like any other. People who say that the earth tends to be spherical or ovoid can be of two groups: those who blindly trust others without asking questions, and those who have the ability to see for themselves why. In all cases, the truth is a perception. Truths are never absolute. They are perceptions. The more they want to impose their truths on others, the more they are contributing to the collective lie. Me. So you have to educate yourself better. I am, but not at school. Educating yourself is learning to savor and digest the information of life and the world, not swallow it like a duck. Oh my god, I am is funny. Me, I understand then that there is no absolute truth that is transformed as I transform my way of perceiving the world around me and the inner world. I understand at the same time that the lie is a tool of human creativity, a gift that culture, art, beauty gave us, and that because we are not coherent, we have misused. Lie and truth are not opposites, but complementary, because while one arises from the perception of the external world, truth, the other projects a perception on said world, lie. I am. Be consistent, and wherever you go, you can project your lie to build truth, for it is the richness of the inner art of the human, of the imagination, which has designed the wonderful realities that surround you today. Learn to use them. Design now your lies and truths as a single being, intertwined with each other. Your imagination and your truth. Your external and internal world, both united as one, manifested externally so that you can see the balanced result of what both represent in you, your creative power. Me, I am the mind that imaginatively designs the new realities. The lie is the basis of my reality. The truth is the potential of my imagination.